Hi, Professor McKay. Thank you for watching my video. And before I start my presentation, I just wanted to thank you again for the very, the very inspiring course we had together. I learned a lot from you, and now I have better understanding of HRM, that which is very precious and important to me myself. Thank you so much again, and let's go to what I'm going to talk about today is we are going to talk about, I'm going to walk you through my literature review titled Psychological Safety and Workplace Inclusion for First Generation Gen Z Immigrant Employees. The goal of this review is to explore how psychological safety, the belief that you can speak up without fear, helps young immigrant employees feel safe, heard, and included in work at work, sorry. With more Gen Z immigrants entering the workforce, it is important to understand how we can support them through inclusive HR practices and leadership. Let's go to the first slide, which is about what is psychological safety, or PS. Psychological safety, or PS, is the belief that it is safe to take risks at work, like asking questions, sharing ideas, or even making mistakes without fear of being judged or punished. Um, this concept was introduced by Amy Edmondson in 1999 and builds on earlier work by Kahn, 1990, who emphasized emotional engagement at work. Um, One of the best practical frameworks come from Timothy Clark, 2020. I was so lucky to find this book at the Library of North Vancouver, and read the book, and I will share my understandings with you. But before that, there is a video I attached to this presentation that I think it can be helpful to watch it together, because it somehow summarizes what is inclusion safety, learner safety, contributor safety, and challenger safety as four stages of psychological um, uh, safety. Let's go to watch this video together.
This book is about human interaction. I want to help you become more effective as you interact with others, coworkers, friends, family, really anyone. In the book, I define the path to inclusion and innovation based on psychological safety. Psychological safety means that you feel safe interacting with others without fear that you'll be embarrassed or punished in some way. The pattern I share in the book is a universal pattern that I discovered as I've worked with teams and organizations around the world. It's also, quite frankly, the key to happy and healthy relationships. We all have an inborn need to do four things when we interact with each other. First, we want to feel included. That's number one. We long to belong. Humans need to be accepted before they need to be heard. Second, we want to feel safe to learn and grow. It means being able to ask questions, give and receive feedback, experiment, and even make mistakes. Third, we want to feel safe to contribute. That means being able to participate as a member of the team, using our talents and abilities to make a difference. And fourth, we want to be able to challenge the way we do things, to look around and say, you know what? It's time to change, and I have an idea about how to make things better. These are the four stages of psychological safety. One, to feel included. Two, to feel safe to learn. Three, to feel safe to contribute. And four, to feel safe to challenge the status quo. We thrive in environments that respect us and allow us to do these four things. If we can't do them, if it's emotionally expensive, fear shuts us down. It triggers what we call the self-censoring instinct. And when that happens, we hold back and manage personal risk. And we're not happy or reaching our potential. But when the environment nurtures psychological safety and we feel safe enough to do these four things, there's an explosion of confidence, engagement, and performance. Here's my invitation. Read the book. As you do, crack yourself open and take a look inside. Ask yourself if you feel included, it's safe to learn, safe to contribute, and safe to challenge the status quo. Finally, ask yourself if you're doing all you can to create an environment where others can do these four things. In the process, I hope you'll look around and see others with respect and fresh amazement, find deeper communion in your relationships and more happiness and satisfaction in your own life. Enjoy the book.
Yeah, so I think Clerk perfectly explained what is this four stages, and we see that um, these stages show how people evolve from feeling accepted to feeling confident enough to speak up and challenge the status quo. And now let's go to the next slide. Sorry. Yeah. And before we focus on immigrant Gen Z employees, let's talk about Gen Z in general. Born between 1995 and 2010, they are the first fully digital native generation. In the article, Insight into Gen Z Navigating the Changing Workplace Landscape by Oatman and the others, 2024, it is noted that Gen Z employees expect mental health support, transparency, purpose-driven purpose-driven work, and work-life balance as essential components of supportive workplace. They value flexibility, diversity, and open communication. And when those needs aren't met, they are not that kind of people who, uh, tolerate it and they don't afraid to leave. So these expectations raise the bar for employers. And when Gen Z identity overlaps with immigrant identity, the workplace challenges become even more complex. So let's go to the next slide and talk about inclusion and employee voice. Inclusion means, as we talked about it earlier, means more than just having diverse employees. It's about making people feel respected and valued. So psychological safety is what empowers people to speak up, and that's known as employee voice. Studies like PIRAC and the others, 2012, show that inclusive leadership and psychological safety help employees share ideas and concerns. For Gen Z immigrants, voice is harder. Language, fear of judgment, and cultural mismatch make them more likely to stay quiet, even when they have something valuable to say. So it is so important for employers to give them the chance to speak up. Let's go to the next slide and talk about challenges of first generation Gen Z immigrants. First of all, this group face a unique dual challenge. They are immigrants, and on the other hand, they are Gen Z. So they often feel in between cultures, not only part of their home cultures and not fully part of their home cultures and not fully accepted in the work culture and somewhere in between. This leads a self-doubt, silence, and sometimes burnout. They might hesitate to speak up, not because they lack ideas, but because they fear being misunderstood. This is something that I personally have the experience, and sometimes because of some language barriers, I prefer to just stay silent and not express my ideas and express my opinions at work, and sometimes in classrooms, even in university. So I prefer to, stay in the, safe zone and not to challenge the status quo. So according to some numbers, we know that over almost 30%, 35% of immigrant youth hesitate to raise concerns at work. And most DEA programs don't address these overlapping identities. Let's go to the next slide and talk about psychological, how psychological safety is like a bridge to inclusion, some kind of mediator for inclusion. So PS enables shifts, let me put it in another word. Psychological safety helps bridge this gap. So it is what takes employees from feeling like outsiders to feeling like, like full contributors, Many Gen Z immigrants stay stuck at the first stage of the psychological safety, which were inclusion safety, and never progress because they're afraid of fail to speak up. That's why inclusive leadership is so important. Leaders need to invite inputs, normalize questions, and show their value different perspectives. Hirek and others found that employees are more likely to speak up when they feel supported, and that starts at the top, at the top of the structure of the company. So let's go to the next slide and talk about role of HR and leadership. So HR and leadership can either create or destroy psychological safety. It starts with onboarding, not just explaining tasks, but explaining how feedbacks work, how mistakes are handled, and how ideas are welcomed. Peer mentoring also, and diverse leadership also can be key here. They show employees where they belong, they belong to this company. But most of all, leaders must model vulnerability, I'm sorry. When they admit mistakes and welcome disagreements, they make it safe somehow for others to do the same. And that's how trust is built. It is built on not just based on policy, but based on through the actual behavior, actual actions. And at the end, I just wanted to highlight some main points of my presentation to wrap it up. Number one is psychological safety is not like something optional, it is not a luxurious thing. It is essential for inclusion. Uh, first generation, uh, first generation of Gen Z immigrant employees face complex barriers. They also offer incredible values, and that is something make it worth for employers to, try harder for them to give them space to, to give them space to, show their potentials, make their potentials to actions, And so at the end, the important part is that HR and leadership must go beyond surface level DI to build real trust and belonging. So this topic helped me understand that inclusion is about everyday interactions and it is not just a big initiative. So thank you so much for offering this topic as a research material because at the course I remember one day you mentioned psychological safety. I didn't have any idea about this concept, and now I understand better the workplace safeties and some factors that may not be seen physically, but they are very important to be there at a very healthy workplace. Thank you again for the course that I learned a lot. Thank you. You are one of the best professors I've ever met. And so I just wanted to mention it. Yeah. Take care and wish you all the best. Thank you for your time and attention, Professor. Have a good time.